Hello everybody, welcome back to the Tales from the Warp channel. I am your host, Lem. Today, I will be kit bashing my own weird boy using parts from the Disciples of Tzeentch Spearhead from the Age of Sigmar. I start this project by looking at the back of the box to see which units I'm going to gut for parts. I move on to opening the box, getting a nose full of that new sprue smell. It's such a nice time cracking open a new box of minis, especially when you get to cannibalize them. Anyways, back to it. I look through the sprues to find which ones I'll be using for parts, as said moments ago. For this weird boy, I'm going to put him on top of a screamer because I think it would look badass, but that's for later in the video. I opened up my box of orc bits to see if I could find a torso for the legs that I clipped from the sprue, as well as a head that I found that fits perfectly on the body. I do a little bit of cleaning up the head. I also pick out an arm that will be used later on the body. Unfortunately, I did not have a spare torso, so I am going to use the torso from this beast Snaganov I have. I start by clipping away some of the beast snagga bits so I can have a clean body that I will later Tzeentchify. I switched to sawing the snagga in half so I could put the snagga's torso on top of the Tzeentch warrior legs. But unfortunately, it looked like he skipped leg day. I abandoned that idea and decided to go back to using the full beast snagga body. I'm doing a little cleanup of the legs again to get rid of any beast snagga parts, same with the torso. Doing some sanding so I can clean it up so the two parts can fit back together better. Again, next few moments, just me cleaning up the parts. Here's the Snagga put back together. He's looking pretty bare now. I'm clipping off the medallion topper from this staff to hide the gaping hole where his dick tassel used to be. Putting on said medallion. Here's a close-up of what he's looking like so far. He's looking pretty nice. Let's do his weapon next. Here I am taking apart this axe that I am going to have him holding up. Drilling into his hand so I can have holes that the two parts are going to sink into. Another close-up of the main weird boy himself. Super glue in his hand. I had to redo it because I used a left hand for the right arm instead of the correct hand. Like on every other part of the project, I'm snipping away the parts I don't need so that the arm fits on the torso. Fitting the arm to the torso to see how I want the pose. Here he is in another close-up. Got rid of his axe head and replaced it with a scepter so it fits more of the Tzeentch aesthetic that I want. Time to accessorize him with some parts I found. The first of which is this cape. I believe it's a banner, but using it as a cape. The next up is a sword. I was going to put it on the scepter side, but switch the freehand side so he can still fight while he uses his scepter. I was going to use this scroll, but I couldn't get it to work in the way I wanted. Snipped off some horns and putting it on top of him to fill his space where that animal spine used to be. Now let's put some magic on this boy. Cleaning up the magic part, thought I cut my thumb, thankfully I did not. I cut down that part because it was way too big and testing out the pose I want for on it. Because I want it to look like he's channeling some magic from the scepter. But let's switch gears to the base. I start by snipping him off the temporary base. I built one of the screamers off screen because there wasn't anything interesting about building it. I didn't do anything to it. I'm fixing him to the top of the screamer with a bit of super glue. It was a pain to get him to stay. I had to bust out the super glue and baking soda combo to get him to stay put. Alright, time for the final stretch of the project, the base. I start off by taking some cork and stacking it. That's pretty much for this entire section. I also do fill some gaps with the volcanic terrain paste that I explained in the last couple videos. Here he is in all of his glory. He looks so fucking cool. This is one of my favorite models that I have ever built.